Welcome to this edition of Keeping It Rich with Sakina. I am your host, Sakina, and you are keeping it rich just by tuning into this conversation. Typically, we talk about the 5 keys to keeping it rich, which are to define your rich, invest in it, build your credit, own something, and hire people. But today, I am interrupting that regularly scheduled broadcast to talk about the market volatility. This is March 2025. We are 3 months into a new administration in the United States, and we are seeing the effects of that new administration's decision making. Some of the decisions have been about tariffs. We've heard a 25% tariff, then a couple of days ago, it was threatened to go up to 50%, and then it came back down to 25%. This is causing a big shake in consumer confidence, in business confidence. Of course, there's also layoffs, mass layoffs at the federal government level, which is definitely affecting us in the African American community with so many people that are Black that live in the DC, Maryland area that are losing jobs. Also in DEI, it's also affecting us significantly. I am a Black owned business owner and I am seeing the effects of it. A lack of contracts that are coming this way that used to. I have friends that own larger businesses than mine and they, could rely as up to as much as 70% to 80% for contracts for their business and they are being threatened. So it's definitely a tough time. It's a very tough time for Black people at this time, and for gay people, and for veterans, and for immigrants, and for anyone else that was in a protected class at some point. So that's why I decided it was time for me to have like a serious conversation about this. So, first, about the market volatility that we're seeing this month. Today, actually, the S&P 500 is up 0.5% compared to yesterday, which the news was reporting. It was down 1% yesterday compared to the day before yesterday, and it was down 2% the day before yesterday compared to 3 days ago. So as you can see, if you're watching this day to day, it can move from 0.5% to 1% to 2%, and a lot of decisions are made on those small fluctuations in the market. A lot of people decide, let me sell everything. Please don't be one of those people. Please talk to your financial advisor. If you don't have a financial advisor and you are concerned about your portfolio, then that is a clear indicator that you should get a financial advisor, someone that actually is watching the market, that can tell you whether this makes sense for you because maybe you are nearing retirement and you need your money soon. And so maybe they can move it into something that's safer, like a bond or your cash account, if that makes sense. Now, on 0.5% and 1%, it's not likely that someone's going to tell you that that is the case. They're usually going to tell you to hold it and ride the market out because market volatility is so common. I was looking earlier today just because, so much news going on, paying attention to it. And so, for instance, when I'm looking at the charts, 1 month ago, for instance, I told you like usually we're comparing day to day, but 1 month ago, the S&P was down 7.4% compared to today. 6 months ago compared to today, we are up 0.15%. And when you look at a year ago to today, we're actually up 8.29%. So this is not bleak at all. This is not bleak at all. I mean, when we had a recession back in 2009, the S&P 500 dropped 50% from 2007 to 2009. So when you're talking 0.5% compared to 50%, you understand we are not there yet. However, you never know what's the beginning of the end, right? So pay close attention, keep tuning in, make sure you're keeping it rich like you obviously are. Keep paying attention to the market. I'm going to keep you updated to let you know what's going on. Some of the things I want to talk about today about market volatility. I want to talk about consumer confidence. And I also want to talk about what's happening with DEI and the effect that that's having, particularly in the African American community. So, first, talking about consumer confidence. So, consumer confidence has gone down 7 points in February, which this is the third straight month that consumer confidence has gone down. And yes, for those of you who didn't know, there is an actual report on consumer confidence. So, you might be feeling like that you're lacking confidence, but there's actually people that are surveyed that actually represent us, and they report it out and follow it. So that's a good thing. And so the report is showing that our confidence is dropping, which is in part due to things like the tariff conversation, which one day we're putting 25% tariffs on a country, and then we're going up to 50%, and then we're back down to 25%. And that has happened literally in the same day, up and down. You talk about volatility. So those kinds of live negotiations that are happening with countries in a day are definitely helping to shake our confidence. I'm sure I know it's helping to shake mine and making me pay close attention and making me realize that I have to make sure that I'm having a serious conversation with you out there. And by all means, if you have a particular question or comment, drop that in the comments. Send me a direct message on social media. I am keeping it rich on Instagram and keeping it rich on Facebook. Send me a message. Let's keep having these conversations. I'm going to keep having them because they're really important to have. And so the other piece I was saying on the consumer confidence is we're down third month straight. We're down 7 points, and this is the lowest consumer confidence has been since August 2021. So that is becoming a bit of a concern. The Fed is not saying that we're seeming to be going into a recession or there's going to be inflation just yet. So we're still watching that. And the administration, of course, is saying that we're not, but they're not giving us any numbers to back that up. So I just wanted to bring this conversation to you so you can know what is actually going on out there. And like I say, if you have specific questions, ask me. I don't want to talk you completely to death because I appreciate you at least wanting to have this conversation around my table. Um, Speaking about the DEI situation. So, as you know, the administration, as soon as they came in January, rolled back diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And so they slashed all the federal spending for DEI and slashed the jobs that were attributed to DEI roles. So that has caused a significant amount of layoffs amongst African American people that were working in the federal government, and especially in the DC, Maryland area, which is a large concentration of Black people, as we know. So that is trickling down into our overall economy. So we need to pay attention to that. Somehow people get laid off, they're eventually going to stop spending money. So that is going to take its toll as well. So that's why we also have to pay close attention to what's happening right now in the market and in consumer confidence. And in DEI, it's personal to me because I am a Black owned business owner as well. And so I'm seeing, a drop probably about 10% in revenue from contracts that I had that were related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Other business owners that I know are also seeing drops. They're seeing as much as 70% drops in contracts because they relied heavily on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which is to basically make sure that your company has parity when it comes to the amount of employees they have that are Black or white or Latino, making sure that everyone's being fair, making sure that there's inclusion, that everyone's being included in the conversation, that there's fair conversations at the table, that people have sensitivity training, retention numbers, making sure that you have people of different nationalities and races at different levels in your company. So that's what DEI pretty much is. And so when someone says, we're not doing that anymore, like for instance, Walmart said, we're not doing that anymore. And that kind of struck me odd. So I definitely have stopped shopping at Walmart. I had stopped just in general before anyone said, let's have a boycott. Once I saw the news, I was like, whoa, you're what? And so I just was like, all right, well, if you're not committing to making sure you have a diverse staff and you're not making the same commitments that you made before, no less, it's not like you never did it before. You used to do it. And now you said, I'm officially not doing it. That struck me real odd. So I stopped going there. Never really went to Target anyway, but definitely don't go there now. Which made me look up the numbers because there was a boycott that was highly publicized. It was by a non-Black person who started it, a non-minority, I believe he was, started an organization and had a boycott on February 28th. And so I looked up to see what was the result of that. So there was a survey done that compared website traffic for February 28th, which was the day of the boycott, to website traffic on February 21st on certain shopping sites. So Walmart website traffic was down 6.5% on February 28th, that boycott day, compared to February 21st, the Friday before. Amazon website traffic was down 4.6%. Target traffic was down 1%. And the Costco traffic, which Costco has made a commitment to continue their diversity efforts. They have publicly said they will not stop their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. So people have kind of been running to Costco in droves. I am also a big Costco supporter. And so Costco was up 8.3%. So, I think that's kudos, yay, yay, us. I've been recently rereading Jawanza Kunjufu's Black Economics, book that came out in the 90s about how we need to pull together, talks a bit about cooperative economics and how we need to make sure that we're supporting those that support us and reinvesting in our communities and pulling our funds together so that we can move our community forward. And when I say our community, I'm talking about people who are just like minded like us, whoever us are, right? And you know who us is. You know if these people sitting next to you are on the same page with you or not. And it is not based on just any particular color, any particular race, any particular gender orientation. It's just the group of us that believe in certain levels of humanity and certain levels of respect for all people. So, Costco's pretty much said that they are, committed to that. And so I support Costco as well. So this is not an infomercial for Costco though, but I was happy to see that their website traffic was up 8.3% compared to Walmart, which was down 6.5%, because I was just totally blown away by Walmart just coming out being so bold as they were. So that's that DEI. Reverend Jamal Bryant has also called for a fast, and I believe some other pastors, off of Walmart and Amazon and Target. And I'm not sure who the other stores are because those are also ones who have stopped their DEI efforts. And so they call for a fast during the time of Lent, which we are currently in right now. Again, like I said, this broadcast is March 2025. So there's a lot going on there, people. So we got to pay close attention. Cooperative economics is very important now. Holding on your stock account is very important now. You do not want to start losing your money. You don't want to start selling when it's low. You definitely want to get a financial advisor if you don't have one to help you talk through that. If you need any referrals from me, let me know. Send me a DM, send me a comment, and I will help you on that. But this is definitely a time to pay close attention to your money. I always say at all times you're doing one of three things with your money. You're either wasting it, saving it, or investing it. So I want to make sure we're not wasting it right now. This is definitely a time to keep our eyes open and pay close attention to what's going on. Um, let's see, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? Well, we also wanted to talk about, in general, I guess we did. Normally, we're talking about closing the wealth gap. Right now, I realize that my mind is shifting from closing the wealth gap. Right this minute, I'm on pause, and right now, I've shifted to holding the line. We need to really hold the line. We need to keep our community together. We need to support each other. Cooperative economics is really important. Buy Black is something that goes back as far back as 1865. It can be documented to Black economic conferences even prior to Jim Crow laws, when we were actually pulling all our money together and starting Black towns. So we need to start revisiting those stories and revisiting those facts and actually practicing those principles again. We have to take care of ourselves right now. So I'm glad that you tuned in. I hope that this has been helpful. Again, congratulations for keeping it rich. Drop me a comment, subscribe to a channel, wherever you're getting this from, and I hope to hear from you soon.